My life growing up was in the church. My dad was a youth pastor since as long as I can remember. Pretty solid family life, big family. I was kind of introduced to pornography by accident on the internet. The very first time I can remember seeing it was just like a pop-up that popped up, and I was like, whoa, what's that? And kind of shut it down really quick, looked away. Flash forward probably a couple years. It's like a blog site for kids that I was kind of on, and just kind of stumbled upon it and was really confused, but now I knew how to get to it, unlike the pop-up. Eventually, kind of built up the courage or stupidity, whatever it was, to click it and go look at it. I guess the reason I wanted to go back to it was, I don't know, I was young, knew I shouldn't be doing it, but for some reason I wanted to. I definitely kind of battled with what masturbation was for a while, kind of thought about it, and I did kind of think, well, it's not sex and it's not the worst thing that I could be doing, so it's not that big of a deal. It started to affect who I was. Just my thoughts in general were lust-based, and I could no longer, just see a girl walking on the street without immediately thinking of sex and porn and what it would be like to have sex with her and wishing that I could have sex with her. 6 months to maybe a year into it was kind of where I was at the very peak of it. It was several times a day. I was so sick of who I was, and so sick of having something over my life that determined what I did throughout the day. If I wasn't looking at porn or I wasn't masturbating, I spent most of my time, thinking about looking at porn or thinking about masturbating. I'd think about, if I stop looking at porn for a week or 2 weeks, then I'll go tell my parents, because then it's something I used to struggle with, not something I'm struggling with now. So what I eventually did is I wrote my parents like a Facebook message. Made sure it said everything I wanted to say and made sure I was apologizing a lot, and I kind of sat there and struggled with my hand over the mouse trying to click send, and I just kind of closed my eyes and clicked it, and finally that night I got a message back. It was just the absolute complete opposite of what I expected, and it was just grace and love. Then my dad replied the next day, and he was able to say, I used to look at porn too and I struggled with that. And then we were able to relate, which was really, really helpful, but it wasn't enough for me to stop. And so, like 3 days later, I looked at porn again and I just felt awful. And this time I wasn't gonna tell my parents. A few months passed and I had been talking to my friends about it more openly. We were all struggling with it and all doing better, but we weren't great. We came up with this crazy idea to shoot videos of ourselves, confessing what we were doing and confessing what we were struggling with. But again, those videos didn't fix it. Just because, 500 people know that I'm a porn addict now doesn't make me not a porn addict. It just makes me a very public porn addict. Do I want to change? Do I want to be a better person? Do I want to be what God wants me to be, or do I want to keep choosing pornography and masturbation and lust over this love that God has for me? Which one do I want? It's really hard sometimes, but I'm getting there, and God still loves me, and I still love myself even though I'm struggling with this.